Good morning. My name is Ray Dratt, Warren County Building and Zoning. I have been sworn in. Commissioners, member of the board, thank you for being here. I see that the neighbors are here, and I also see that the applicant is here as well. Can I get the... While we're doing that, based on the testimony last time we met, there were some questions about the timeliness of the application. In response to that, the Building and Zoning Department and other entities in the county, primarily RPC, I have provided you with copies of email correspondence between the applicant at the time, which was Royce Lau, Representative Tag Towers, from approximately January of 2025 when he corresponded with RPC until the date when you, Commissioner Jones, asked me to provide him with some information. There is a couple additional real simple emails, but I would like to present that as Exhibit 2, if I may.
Okay, please. Yeah, I recall back in the January hearing that the application was not completed.
Yes, ma'am. We are here today to continue case 101-2025, and this is the Royce Lau Tag Towers LLC. Everything else remains the same. I did update the site plan review, which is what we were here today to look at, and I added the today's date of April 21st of 2026. There's one other topic that was brought up by the neighbors, that if you were to make a decision today, we would like to potentially make a request if you deem it necessary. The question was about the tower height. Warren County Zoning Code determines the height of the tower as the tower height. Their concern was that the antenna, the grounding rod, lightning arrestor, is 4 feet. So if the commissioners deem necessary, one of the recommendations, if this is the northern property line, you may request that the tower be moved 4 feet to the south, if you deem that necessary or not.
And that stays within the easement?
Well, there is, what they were concerning was the fall zone.
Yeah, I know that, but in moving the tower, it stays within the easement?
This was the easement, which is also owned by the same property owner that they had obtained. So while it doesn't, it would still remain in that easement. Yes, that's correct.
I guess what I'm inartfully asking the question is that easement remains sufficient.
Yes, ma'am.
There's would be no requiring of acquiring additional property for easement.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great, thank you.
But if I understand the issue was that if the tower fell because of the 4-foot lightning antenna or whatever it is, it would be outside the property of the owner. Is that right?
The tower would remain within,
But not
this lightning rod, lightning arrestor.
It would go outside it. And
Correct.
is that a violation of our zoning law?
It's not, because number one, we only determine the tower height as the height of the tower.
It doesn't include
Correct.
the lightning rod that's 4 feet above it.
Correct.
So the fact that it would fall in its current location, if it fell, and that lightning rod would go outside the property, that does not violate the zoning.
No.
But that was raised. And
That
that's
question was
why-
raised by the neighbors, and
It
once
did.
again, I mean, but in their you can ask their engineer. The towers aren't designed to fall like they did in the, I think they're designed to collapse on themselves.
They're designed to come down,
Correct.
sort of.
But I'm not an engineer, I'm just saying that they brought it up, I'm just.
They don't
addressing-
blow over and fall as a whole like that. They go like this.
That, I believe that to be the case, that's what they reported on their, first page of their design, but that's the
It
question.
doesn't matter. It doesn't
Correct.
matter, because even if they fell completely intact and the lightning rod went into somebody else's property, would be very unfortunate, but that doesn't it's a zoning question. Does it violate the zoning if the tower goes down and part of what is in that structure is beyond the property of the person who's given the permission? You're getting something on somebody else's property now. Is that a violation of zoning or not?
No,
Okay.
And that's his opinion, and the opponents had a different opinion, and they can articulate that. But what he is also testifying to is even if the opponents were correct, that can be alleviated simply moving the tower 4 feet south, the length of the lightning arrestor.
Very good.
Great.
any questions of me?
I do not, but does the applicant have any questions for this witness?
No, we do have a fall zone letter we can submit though that would show the tower collapses upon itself if it fall. If you'd like that submitted.
If you'd like to submit it, we'll certainly receive that.
In addition, Commissioner Jones, if you would give the applicant the opportunity, does the applicant have any objections to the Exhibit 2 that was introduced?
I haven't seen Exhibit 2.
It's all the email communications between Mr. Royce J. Lau.
I don't know his middle, it's Royce Lau, the son of, Mr. Lau.
Yeah.
And the zoning department, that's what Exhibit 2 is.
It's broader than just the zoning department, it includes regional planning and zoning.
I could see it.
Sure. Second emails are, once again, prior to the submittal of the application, correspondence between Brookfield, who's the zoning inspector.
Hey, Ray, we're gonna get you a microphone, please, so
Yes.
we are going to, Commissioner Young isn't here, so I wanna make sure he can hear.
So are you representing that this is a complete history of all the emails?
That is, to the best of my ability, that's a duplication of the email correspondence between Royce and the zoning and regional planning that I have record of.
From the beginning of communications through when?
I believe the last correspondence should have been the question. It was either your email that you submitted as a supplemental or the email where I asked if the 14th was still on. So it was just, yeah, because I sent an email on before the 14th to Royce to see if today, or that day was still on so that the county commissioners could potentially schedule something in the absence of tag towers. that was the last correspondence with him, but then there was an email correspondence with your office after that, so,
When I was engaged.
yes. Which is the supplemental.
So through early February.
Probably April, through April, yeah.
So I've seen emails from your office. But none from us.
His response is attached to his response. So that's, the supplemental, the commissioners already have. And then the correspondence that I received for today, they've already received.
Okay. So they received what I sent yesterday.
That is correct.
Yes.
That is correct,
Yeah.
we'll stipulate to that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll stipulate to that.
Okay,
Thank you.
so there's not an objection then, for that exhibit. Okay, no other questions for this witness at this time?
No, but to clarify, you've received my April 20th correspondence.
Yes, we have received that.
You may wanna offer Mr. Kirby, and I can't remember the other gentlemen, or the only two that testified as opponents, the opportunity to cross-examine this witness since they have already testified.
Okay, would either of you like to cross-examine the witness?
I got a couple questions. One, you said it does not
Can-
violate the zoning.
Sir, can I ask you
Sorry.
to come up and
Yep.
just again for the
That's
record,
fine.
to state your name and address?
Timothy Kirby, 1087 South Nixon Camp, Oregonia, Ohio, 45054, and I have been sworn in.
Great, thank you.
So my question is, you said it does not violate zoning code. However, everywhere you read says anything attached to the tower is considered part of the structure. So therefore, the structure itself is 254 feet. We're not gonna call it a tower, we're not going to call it a lightning arrestor. The structure itself is 254 feet. The fall zone for the structure is 250 feet. Therefore, my property is 4 foot into the fall zone. So how does that not violate zoning when it is part of the structure? It's affixed to the structure.
The definition in the Warren County.
Ray, I'm just gonna ask you to come towards
That's
the
fine.
mic, so we're picking it up for the
The
video.
definition of in the Warren County Rural Zoning Code covers the tower structure and not devices attached to it. That's why if there is any question, as Mr. McGarry indicated, in order to assist Mr. Kirby, we just ask that we move the tower 4 feet from the north property line, which is where he's located.
Okay, so if you move the tower 4 feet, the site plan changes. And therefore, they should have to resubmit an entire new site plan because everything changes. Because, yes, they do have an easement on Willie Glancy's property. Do you know what that easement says? Does it say it includes the entire property? Or does it define the exact radius that it includes?
I don't know the answer to that. I know that there is the documentation for the, easement is in the PowerPoint. And here it is. I will at glance acknowledge that the installation of a wireless telecommunication may restrict the use of the property within the tower fall zone radius. This will not restrict the ability of my residential use of the property. That's the letter that she signed, as to what the actual, easement verbiage is. I don't know, but I would assume that as long as the 4 feet doesn't impact her residential structure or house, then you can be moved. But I also think that in the regional planning's recommendations,
Right there, if you go back one page, it shows right there, designed to fall within the subject property.
right. So, once again, if there are changes made, they will, obviously have to update their site plan and their drawings to show that. That's only if you guys, make the
But the
recommendation.
testimony today is that the current regulations define that as being the cell tower itself in
That
the
is
fall
correct.
zone,
That's my
not
interpretation.
anything attached to it.
That is my interpretation of zone code.
But that is all interpretation is all it is. It's his opinion versus someone else's. There is no definition within the Warren County Code that says for sure. However, do you have the paperwork where it says it includes?
This is his.
Yeah, that's what he just pulled up. There's one that they submitted prior to that says it includes the tower and the arrestor, and it was in your guys' documentation. I don't know which one it was. Remember that when we were reading that the other day?
It's this right here. It's his, the tower and the arrestor.
Yeah, this specifically says provides documentation, the fall zone radius. If you'll go back a couple pages, Ray, it's number 6. The applicant provides documentation of the cell tower's fall zone radius, that the tower and lightning arrestor are designed to fall within the subject property. They call it out right there, and. They don't say tower, it says tower and lightning arrestor. And just for the record, we do have someone here that is a lineman that has worked on cell towers, and I'm sure he can testify that the arrestor is attached to the structure and part of the structure. If you want to say, I know you work on.
Well,
Are you gonna be cross-examining this witness?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
So-
We'll give him a
so
chance to
We'll
speak.
provide you plenty
Okay.
of time for everybody to be able to testify,
All right.
but there is a process
Okay,
here.
well, and I'm new to this, so,
Okay, no,
Okay.
now you're cross-examining him.
yeah.
yes.
So the only purpose is for you to ask him questions and him to answer the questions. And that's perfectly appropriate. So you're asking him questions that relate to whether or not the lightning rod or arrestor is part of the structure of the tower so that it has to comply with the fall zone requirements, or it's not. That's what you're asking about.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right,
And so proceed.
thank you.
Great.
That was one question. Is there any other questions?
Any other questions?
I don't have any. You got any questions?
Great, thank you, Ray,
Okay, thank you.
appreciate it.
Redirect on him?
No.
Yeah. They're allowed to ask redirect questions.
Okay, now this time, is there anybody who wishes to speak as a proponent on this item? Seeing none, Is there anyone else who wants to testify as an opponent to the site plan?
You want to do this?
Okay, now, once again, I'm going to, you both have testified already, but what the board needs to hear from you today are two things. One, what is the distance of your property from the proposed cell tower site? And two, what the unique harm you will suffer if the site plan is approved. Unique harm does not mean how it affects the neighborhood, but your specific property.
So before we go into that, we did have a couple things that we wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that we submitted on Friday. It is all the distances of all the properties on the in our neighborhood, including the parcel.
We get the speaker's name
Oh.
all the time.
Timothy Kirby, 1087 South Nixon Camp, Oregonia Road. I have been sworn in.
I'm Robert Bednar. I live at 1029 South Nixon Camp, Oregonia.
I would ask the chair if you would make sure that these people speak one at a time, not in conjunction.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so this document that you're about to talk about, you're gonna need to identify for us as to how it was collected, how the data was collected, and identify all of that, but it's probably, because all documents like this that incorporate other things, it might be just a demonstrative piece of evidence, not an actual piece of evidence. So that it helps to inform us, but to establish these numbers and things, we probably need to hear from the individual owners.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure you guys had record.
Okay.
I created this document, I used the GIS, Warren County GIS, and pulled the measurements off there. All the dollar values are pulled straight from Zillow so that there is an accurate.
Well, again, this is probably not an admissible document as evidence in and of itself. It's a demonstrative piece of evidence that helps to guide us and give us some information, but I'm telling you that you probably need each individual owner to testify about this.
Okay. And there's some other stuff on there. Essentially, again, with the slideshow, we just want to make sure you guys have the information about how cell towers affect home values. This is all from the environmentalscience.org. There's been multiple surveys showing how it affects home values in neighborhoods and the likelihood of being able to resell your homes. And there's just multiple studies. I think they included like 6 different studies just for information purposes.
And so, can you, since you compiled this information, do you want to advise the board as to how far away your particular property is?
I've got a lot to say about my
from
place.
this, well, that's
Okay.
really the information we need to correct.
All right, so my house is located 450 feet from the center of the cell tower. My property line is 0 feet from the Willa Glancy property. I actually own 2 properties at 1087 South Nixon Camp, and I own a property at 4828 State Route 350. The 4828 State Route 350 is also 0 feet from the Glancy property line, and the location where the house was is about 600 feet. So actually I get hit twice with a cell tower. My concerns on how it's going to affect us, first and foremost, is my family's health. I have a wife that has health issues. I have a daughter that has health issues. On top of that, I'm concerned about my livestock. We do have animals, and I'm also worried about the water runoff. We've got a pond on our property that has been dug, and it's completely incorporated with fresh fish, not from other farm ponds. We've got healthy fish in there, and then of course I'm concerned about the property value. My property is valued roughly, if I lose 5%, I'm going to lose $30,000. If it's the 20% that they say, you know, you're talking $180,000 profit, you know, not profit loss, but a loss of value on my property. When we moved to South Nixon Camp 10 years ago, it was to get away from all the technology in big country. I mean, I'm a good old country boy. I've said it many times. All my neighbors know it. I don't want to be around these structures. The visual impact, the noise, you know, there are other places where it could go. We did submit emails on Friday. The 350 location has said they will do whatever it takes to accommodate Verizon up to and building a new tower if need be. That was in the email that we submitted on Friday. There are better locations, and the applicants have dropped the ball on this many times from, you know, the deadlines, they did not send certified letters, the address is wrong. When they initially applied in January, your biggest concern was more than one carrier. They've done nothing to show you that they've got any more than one carrier. They did nothing to prove that they actually tried co-location. You asked at the last meeting for me, I think it was Mr. Young, he asked me to find the information where I talked to ODOT. I went home, pulled all my call log, and I submitted that on Friday as well. ODOT wasn't hard for me to get a hold of, but they've done nothing that they were supposed to do to meet the standards. And if they do this much or this little in the beginning, who's going to control what's going to protect my family? You know, and I'm going to leave it at that. You know, protect the citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby.
And for the record, my name is Robert Bednar, and I do live at 1029 South, my wife and I live at 1029 South Nixon Camp. And that property directly adjoins the tower property. I live on a flag lot, so that my property runs next to Mr. Kirby, and it runs behind his property and adjoins Willis property. So the distance from her property is 0. I share a property line with her. From where they're looking to put the tower in, it's going to be about 2 football field lengths. That's how I would put it. It's about 600 feet to where I estimate where the tower would be, and Kirby reflected that. So we moved out, much like Mike. My wife and I have lived in Oregonia for 27 years. We moved out here to be in the country. I mentioned before, I had said in the previous that I'm a software engineer by trade, so I am a technology guy. I'm not against technology. I understand the need for technology. I've worked in the technology sector for 33 years, and I'm set to retire next week. And I can say that one of the things that I did not want to do on my retirement was go out in the evening and relax on my property and pop open a beer and watch a cell phone tower blink. If it wasn't in my visual range, I probably wouldn't be that concerned about it. I feel that, you know, we've lived a while, and would be more concerned about children living in long-term proximity to these towers. We don't have any children. That said, there are things. My father is 86 years old. He always carried his cell phone since he started carrying one in his shirt pocket. And recently he's had some heart issues. And he's had, now, is that caused by the cell phone? I don't know, probably not. But perception is reality. My dad no longer carries his cell phone in his pocket. Do you really think my father's going to want to come out to my property with that giant cell phone tower? He's not going to want to come and visit. He's not going to want to, maybe in advanced years, have to even move in or live with us. He's not going to want to be right near that big tower. I don't want to be looking at that tower. That's why we moved out into the country. Now, I think I'm a reasonable guy. I'll say that, you know, it's like, well, you know, how do I prove I'm a reasonable guy? Well, when we first moved in, our property does have a 150-foot easement across it. There are high power lines that run over my property. The tower is on the adjacent property on the other side. When we moved in, it was a 50-foot lattice tower. When we bought the property, we looked at that, and it was absolutely a factor in picking out our property. I don't recall exactly how many years into our property ownership, but they wanted to upgrade the electrical service and replace that 50-foot tower with a 90-foot monopole and essentially double the electric service in the area. I didn't complain. They had to bring heavy equipment through the easement, and it created a 6-foot deep trench through the middle of my property because they had to dig down to a base where it would be stable enough to support the equipment to erect that huge monopole. They cut my property in half. I couldn't even reach the back of my property. I had a 20-foot wide, 6-foot deep ditch in the middle of my property. And they said, don't worry, Mr. Bednar, when we're done, we'll come back and we'll take care of it. We just asked them one thing, please do not seed the grass. When you fill it all in and all is said and done, don't seed it with red fescue. Because I'm living on a gentleman's farm. We have horses. There's a foaling stall. Now, we have not been breeding. The previous owner did use the property to breed. And if we were to sell the property, at some point in my life, the property will probably be more than I'm willing to manage. The red fescue is a natural abortive for horses. So you don't want that in your field. Anybody who goes to buy my property and says, hey, I can buy this property because I'm going to have and breed horses, is going to look at that red fescue and say, that's a bad thing. But I can fix that. I can kill all the red fescue and I could reseed it with crop. But I haven't done it because we don't breed, but I can fix it. The cell tower, I can't fix that. If it goes up, it's there for possibly 50 years or more. And that's my lifetime. I'm stuck with that. And when I do sell my property, probably in my lifetime, when at some point I may need to sell the property, I do see that I believe that my property value will be impacted. Pointed out that, albeit in Florida, my sister is a realtor. She was a realtor in several states. She currently lives in Florida. She has a realtor's license. She'll tell me, don't want to, it's if you look at a place with a cell phone, it's harder to sell. There are far fewer people that are interested in buying that property. I understand it. If that tower were pre-existing on the property 27 years ago, I probably wouldn't have bought it. I would have looked elsewhere. And if it was just me too, if it was just me and everybody in the neighborhood thought this was a good thing, reasonable guy, you know what, I can take one for the team. But it's not just me. It seems that no one in the neighborhood wants this tower at all, except for perhaps one resident, which isn't here to speak, but there is someone to speak on her behalf. But they haven't spoken to her mind as whether she wants the tower or not, but that she was willing to sell or lease a portion of her property for that. So she's leased out her voice, and the only people that are here in this room that want the tower are people that don't live here, people that live states away, people that don't want a tower either. I'm not just a NIMBY guy who doesn't want the tower, in my backyard. I have real concerns about the value I will lose on my property, about how it is going to impact the enjoyment of my property, and it's something that I see that no matter what I do, I can't get that back. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bednar. Now, would the proponent like to cross-examine either Mr. Kirby or Mr. Bodnar?
Is it appropriate to cross-examine both of them at the same time, or should I cross-examine both individually?
No.
Cross-examine you, since we've got one sitting down.
I'll gladly stand up if needed.
Well, we'll do Mr. Bodnar first, since he's standing, if that's okay with Mr. Carter.
That's fine.
Okay, and then Mr. Kirby will turn to you.
Have you consulted with an appraiser concerning your opinion that your property might lose value because of the proposed cell tower?
I have not as of yet.
And are you aware of the county auditor's position relative to whether or not cell towers diminish property values, or whether the auditor would grant a reduction in property values due to a cell tower being located adjacent to your property?
I am unaware of the auditor's position.
I'm handing before you what I'd like to include as an exhibit in the hearing, and that's an email that I wrote yesterday to the auditor and the auditor's response concerning the county's position on that issue.
Mark, it what?
Whatever's next, you know, the council, what your exhibits and then that's what next.
Papers are sticking, so I'm gonna apologize.
If you can tell us the exhibit number on this, that would be helpful.
Take a look at that and tell us what the auditor's opinion is. I think that's J.
Yes.
Exhibit J.
The auditor's opinion is that they are not aware of any cases concerning a cell tower affecting the value of the land or any reductions being made. I assume that refers to the property value as assessed by the Warren County Auditor and does not actually reflect sale prices of properties. Is that correct?
I can't comment any more than what's on that.
My only note would be that I know that I am assessed on property value, and I do pay property taxes to Warren County. And I'm aware that the assessed value is not necessarily correlated directly to the selling price of homes.
Would it surprise you that recent appraisals of properties, rural properties such as yours, where cell towers have been located next to properties, found no measurable decrease in value?
That would surprise me.
And that interviews with realtors who brokered those actual properties said that the towers did not impact sales or property values.
Are those people are they here to talk to about that?
I'm going to give you an appraisal that was authored by Valbridge Property Advisors. Valbridge is the largest appraisal company in North America. That appraisal was authored earlier this year for a property in Jay in Wisconsin. We didn't have time within a week to have Valbridge do an appraisal for this particular site. But I'm going to point you to page 20 that looks at the individual sales. And Valbridge interviewed different appraisers, or different brokers in the comparable sales where cell towers were located right across the street. These were arm's length transactions. And the quotes from those realtors are bold-faced. So page 20 is paired sale number 1, and if you look there, the quote from the broker is bold-faced. Broker says to Valbridge, "I'm just returning your call in regards to some cell tower that was near one of the houses that I sold in Spooner. No, the cell tower did not have any effect on my sale. It didn't help it, and it didn't diminish the sale. I guess it wasn't even brought up in any conversation. You see that?
I do see that.
Okay. Take a look at page 24. Paired sale number 2. Boldface says, I really don't think it affected any insight from the buyer's perspective. Maybe the tower was like right next to it there. Might be some price difference, but that was not the case here.
Are
See
these
that?
towers similar in height as 250 feet? If the tower were only 100 feet tall, I might be more amicable to it.
I think the tower was taller, but I can look.
I don't know.
The other thing, decreases the number of opportunity.
Actually, if you look at page 9, it was a 250-foot tower.
What page, sorry?
Page 9 is a diagram of the tower, it was 250 feet.
Okay. And this was a similar property with Equine?
Yes. Then on page 34, we have here's sale number 3. If you look at the boldface there, the broker returns Valbridge's call and says, cell towers, believe it or not, are usually a good thing. This buyer did not comment to me at all. The only time a cell tower would affect the price negatively is if we're too close to the home as to take away from the aesthetics. See that?
I didn't follow that page, but I trust that you are reading from the document.
So your opinion really as to property values is really based on your personal belief. Not any appraisal that you've obtained, any market analysis.
It is based somewhat on scientific studies that I have read, albeit online. I didn't pull an encyclopedia out or something like that. But yes, it is based upon my opinion. I did talk to my sister, who is a licensed realtor, and she believes that it is a problem. She has worked in the business for 20-some years. So I have some firsthand. My sister is not here to testify on that today, so I understand you are not able to question her, as I'm not able to question the person on this document who says that they didn't have a problem. And I understand, it is very difficult to say, okay, this person says they had no issues with the sale. No issues with the sale. I didn't say that no one would be interested in the property, and I didn't say that if I didn't price it appropriately, that someone wouldn't be willing to purchase it anyway. It's very hard to look at something and say, well, how much would the sale have been if it wasn't there?
You're speculating, correct?
Yes, I'm saying that this document shows that one particular person had no problem doing that, but maybe that does not apply to everyone.
You're offering a lay opinion. You haven't brought in an expert to testify.
That is true.
Okay. I have nothing further.
I have, however, highlighted several studies by experts that,
I have nothing further.
okay, great.
Thank you.
I have nothing.
You have
Mr.
a-
Carter,
you have
do
a
you
witness?
wish to?
No.
Okay, great, thank you so much. Is there anyone else here who wishes to testify in opposition? Sir, or I can't see you, but. No, someone was standing in front of you, so.
My name is Charles Wiley. My wife and I, who could not be here, she's in Florida on business, but we live at 1194 South Nixon Camp Road.
And you have been sworn in,
Yes, I was sworn in.
thank you.
We are 850 feet from the tower location to our property, and we are 20 feet directly across the street from Miss Glancy. So I do have concerns on property value. Probably my biggest concern, secondary to my livestock and my family's health as well, but those studies can be debated, so, I will say directly out, you know, I know it was just presented, but as he just mentioned, or quoted one realtor who said the impact would only be the aesthetics of the property. For my instance, I stand to lose up to $115,000. That would be today, that's not when I retire in 15 years, so that's gonna be substantially more. Or when I die and my kids sell the property. But directly out my giant bay window in my guitar room and family room where we sit is going to be a giant flashing light. It will be there, it will be prominent, it will be right on the horizon above the tree line across the street. Same for my hot tub. When I sit out there, I will be inundated with a strobe light flashing and red lights on this tower as well. So it will actually affect the aesthetics of my property because the view out of my bay window and from my recreational areas will be impacted by the side of the tower. I do have alpacas in a small hobby farm. Alpacas are sensitive animals by nature, and they are pack animals. So if the tower is erected, I will probably look to rehome them and not put them through any potential side effects. That being said, I also have concerns about the construction traffic. We bought our house in 2012. We were there for the entire time the Jeremiah Morrow Bridge was blown up and rebuilt. The extra traffic on our road with the construction vehicles was horrendous. The dirt, the traffic, the large trucks that we're on a small road. We barely have a center line. Many times was I forced into the grass or had to pull into the grass to let these vehicles by. Since then, we now have the Rask family with 3 young girls. We have Michael and Tiff with young girls. We have the Kendricks with several children. They all walk the streets, walk their dogs, take walks for exercise, for their personal health. They ride their bikes. We have another neighbor at the end of the street. His kids ride their mini bikes up and down the street. This increased traffic to me is going to be a safety hazard for those who live on the street and walk up and down the street with their animals or their children. So that part concerns me. Materials left along the road, blown off of trucks, trash was also another factor during that entire construction period with the bridge. So in my opinion, this will definitely impact the aesthetics of my house, and it's a safety issue on the street while this construction is going on. And long term, I don't know what the requirements are for traffic going in and out to maintain the site. But again, this was the problem in the past when they rebuilt the bridge, because the end of our road connected to the access road to go down below the bridge and the construction site. So we had constant traffic up and down our road, making it dangerous for all of us. I have a couple of questions, or at least comments about the report from realtors, and I would be curious to know how many realtors were actually surveyed and how many responses did we get? Did we cherry pick only the selective responses that we wanted, or did we provide the raw data? That's a question I have. That's a question I think you guys should consider. We know how the government spends those numbers. We know how we report on things to make it look the way we want to look. I, just like Bob, I'm in IT. I've been in IT for 26 years now. I support the technology. I told you guys last time I was in and spoke, I work from home full-time and have for many years. At one point, CenturyLink internet service was so bad I had to get a Verizon hotspot and work 8 to 12, 15 hours a day from my office in my house on a Verizon hotspot, and I had no issue with coverage. To this day, I have no issue with coverage on my property. When I first moved in, there was a dead spot on 350. We no longer have a dead spot on 350. My calls connect, stay connected, and no longer disconnect when I drive down the highway. So I don't feel there is a coverage issue in our area. I've used it. I used it to work for 2 to 3 years. Video calls, conference calls, and online meetings, everything, with no issue on a Verizon hotspot, which was part of the argument last time, is this would improve coverage for the entire area. There's not an issue with coverage. I invited you all out to try your cell phone on my property. I didn't see anybody show up or request it, but you are still welcome to come out and give that a shot.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, do you wish to cross-examine this witness?
I just have one question. On the issue of property values, that's your personal belief, it's not based on any appraisal or actual assessment, correct?
I do not have a paid appraisal or report, but, my wife and I have several rental properties, so we buy and sell quite often, and I have asked the realtor that we use, who's been in business here in Warren County for 20 years, and it was her opinion that there'd probably be some impact, although with nothing official, no report.
Nothing further.
I would also have a question. You said you didn't have time to get appraisals for our properties in the last week, except we were in here, I believe, in early
It says
January.
Assessment.
Assessment, okay. We were in here in January and we expressed these exact same concerns. Did we not try it then? Why did we wait until last week to try and get assessments on our properties? To provide that data?
I
to
don't
either
think
back up what
Mr.
you're saying?
Carter was engaged in January, so I just.
Well, then I would ask that
just
from
for
you
the
guys, since
record.
everybody has known this is a concern. And
We're here taking testimony and evidence, so if you have an appraisal, we'd be happy to take it in evidence.
And I don't, like you said, I've only consulted with my personal real estate broker that I use on a regular basis.
Great, thank you. Are there any other opponents? Please. Good morning.
Good morning, my name is Colleen Graves. I live at 1274 South Nixon Camp Road, and I have been sworn in. My background is in accounting, so my major concern is property value. I own 4 different businesses. My business, sole business, is located in the city of Cincinnati, pardon me, and right behind my property in the city of Cincinnati is a cell tower. Non-stop do we have people working on the tower, trucks blocking my property where I transport cars to and from. My property value will probably diminish 30%. I do actually have a statement from an appraiser via text that I've known for 30 years. He owns JCI Appraisal out of Miamisburg, Ohio.
Because I would object in that the witnesses were given direction last week as to hearsay and live witnesses.
So I was not here last week because I am searching for property in Florida as a resident, partial resident there during the winter time. Location, location, location. I am looking at property in Florida for the view, for the water, for serenity. That is why I moved to Warren County in the country for serenity, not for a tower in my backyard. Same as I'm looking for property in Florida. So when I'm looking in Florida, when I'm looking in Ohio, as I did 6 years ago, I looked for serenity. Having a tower in my backyard is not serenity. So from the appraisal, it states,
I'm gonna object.
it's just my opinion. Is there an objection on my opinion?
I think he's
And if-
objecting to the hearsay nature of this.
From my,
The fact that you're reporting somebody else's out-of-court statement, and I'm not sure whether there's a hearsay section to this, Bruce, but I don't think there is.
I would advise the board that the record now reflects the objection made by counsel for the applicant, and that is suffice. And as I have always done, I advise you to allow that evidence to be made part of the record. You guys are not judges. Making evidentiary rulings is not something that you're skilled or taught to do this particular job, so allow it in.
So we
Be
recognize,
admissible.
we're recognizing the objection by Mr. Carter, and if you wish to share that information, you're free to do so.
thank you. So as a text, as an appraiser, would you diminish property value if there is a cell tower on your property or adjacent property and/or street in township meeting regarding cell tower on the property, can you please advise quickly? If it's on your property, it would make it go up because you would get payments. If you're next to it, it would have to be very ugly for an adjustment. My response, when you state ugly for adjustment, what does that mean in layman terms? The response would be, would the next buyer not buy because it is there? No. So that's a response from an appraiser that's been in business for 30 years. So again, my concern, because I'm from an accounting background, controlling 4 different businesses, I would not buy on my street if there was a cell tower. My question to the Verizon representatives and/or tower representatives, would you buy on a street with a tower right next to you? You know where I live. Maybe I should have done my research. I'm sorry, I've been out of state for months, but I don't think that they would buy on a street with a tower. So, that's all.
Mr. Carter, do you have any questions for this witness?
What licensure does your appraiser hold?
He owns a business.
What licensure does it hold? Is he an MIA? MAI?
Would you like me to text him and find that out? Because I'm not an
No, I'd
expert.
like you to answer.
I'm not an expert on that, so I don't know. He's just a friend of mine.
What's
That
his
he-
name?
John Cummins, JCI Appraisal, Miamisburg, Ohio.
What degrees does he hold?
Ohio State. He went to Ohio State.
Do you know what degree?
No, he's a friend. He's not a business partner, so I don't ask for his degree like my accountant.
So you can't even tell us if he is certified in appraisal?
Yeah, I can. He has he takes CE credits. He's been in appraisal for 30 years.
But you just said you can't indicate to us if he is MAI certified, correct?
Would you like me to present that at a later time, sir?
This is your time to present.
Well, again, I just got back in town 2 days ago, so I'm unprepared, kind of like you are at times.
Was his opinion prepared in accordance with the Unified Standards of Appraisal Practice that he gave you? Do you know?
I'm unaware of that.
Do you know why he didn't give you a written report?
Just because it came up and I text him as a friend, as an opinion, so I don't have a written report, I have a text.
I have nothing further.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else here who wishes to testify? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Cynthia Green. This is my husband, Joe Merlin. We're both sworn in. We live at 942 South Nixon Camp Road. We're concerned about the property value, of course. We stand, and I printed this off of the internet, and it's from the National Association of Realtors. It states that a 250-foot cell tower can lower your property value up to 20%. It says many buyers find cell towers unsightly and prefer not to live by them. Health concerns are ongoing worries about potential health risks associated with proximity to cell towers. And then it goes on with visual obstruction, market stigma, whatever. In regards to the health, my husband and I have both had cancer. I'm still under treatment, besides some other health concerns. We live, well, our property to our house is 850 foot from the tower. We're 950 foot from the property line. We have a potential, if we lose 5%, of losing $47,235. That's based on Zillow. We feel like Zillow is underestimated based on a house that's for sale across the street from us. by several $100,000. If we lose 10%, we lose $98,745. 20%, $196,940. That's enough for, some people to buy a small house. And that's a substantial amount of money. I just texted a friend of mine who is a realtor in Mason, and I forget the name of the real estate company, but she is one that has been recognized as the top realtor for a number of years. And she commented that a lot of people will not buy a house with a cell phone tower. Some people don't care. That's pretty much it. Do you have anything?
I moved out there 30 years ago, and, I mean, there was nothing out there when I moved out there. And that's why we moved out there. And then she's been out there
About 17.
17 years. And Willow
And I
was-
moved from Mason for that reason.
and
Yeah,
Willow-
Jim.
It's ironic that when my wife and I were building our house, Willow was the first person we met. Because we were up looking out our driveway, it's a long driveway, and Willa and her husband and a few other neighbors were walking down to see our house being built. They didn't know we were there. So she was one of the first people I met, and, we've got along ever since. And it's just it's a tight neighborhood, and I think you can see that from what's here. And as, as far as the cell tower, we might be able to see it. I don't know because of the trees, but it's still, I'm worried about the traffic a little bit, because when they built the bridge, we're the last house on the road, so they went through us, and I got to know all the guys building the bridge. We got a
Well, we
person.
lived with all the traffic and the road blocked and everything else.
But other than that,
Yep.
that's all I guess we have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, do you have any questions?
Nothing.
Okay, great. Thank you for your
Thank
testimony
you.
today. Anyone else here wish to testify? Morning.
Good morning. Sorry,
Are
public
you
speaking
okay to
is not my
stand?
thing, yes.
Okay, because we can bring you a microphone if you'd rather
Oh, no,
sit.
I'm good.
Okay,
My name is Tiffany Baston. I live at 1249 South Nixon Camp Road, Oglala, Ohio 45054. My family and I moved to our current location about 13 years ago. The property at 1105 South Nixon Camp Road is zoned rural residential, and preserving the character of this community is extremely important to me and my neighbors. We chose to purchase our home because of its peaceful natural setting, with the expectation that rural residential zoning would protect the character. We would not have made that investment had we known that a 250-foot telecommunications tower could be considered nearby. A structure of this magnitude is fundamentally incompatible with the rural residential nature of this area and will negatively impact both the visual landscape and surrounding property values. Our home is our most significant financial investment. We also enjoy astronomy, and to polar align our telescopes, we do use Polaris or the North Star, which would be located right by the tower and its lights. However, beyond the personal impact, I have a few follow-up points on whether the applicant has met the legal standard required for approval. Under the Telecommunications Act of 1996, an applicant must demonstrate that a proposed tower is necessary to address significant gap in service and that it represents the least intrusive means of doing so. In my opinion, I don't believe that burden has been met. First, the applicant has not demonstrated a good faith effort to pursue less intrusive alternatives. They testified the outreach to existing tower owners and the Ohio Department of Transportation resulted in minimal response. Yet a nearby resident was able to successfully contact those same entities and identify potential alternative sites. This raises serious concerns on whether it's a meaningful good faith effort was actually made. It was also stated they needed to find other carriers because a new tower would not be built for one carrier. Second, the applicant's own RF engineer acknowledged that an alternative site approximately 1 mile west included previously identified or existing tower location could be viable. That option was dismissed not because it was infeasible, but because it did not meet 100% of the applicant's preferred coverage objectives. This is not the legal standard. The requirement is least intrusive, feasible, not most optimal. Third, the applicant's site selection process appears inconsistent. Initially, they stated there were no viable properties available. Later, they identified a property owned by Ms. Glancy. This inconsistency raises concerns about the thoroughness and reliability of their analysis. Fourth, publicly available coverage information, including Verizon's own maps, indicates the service already exists in this area. While it may not be perfect, the presence of existing service calls into question whether a true significant gap exists. As required under the federal law, improving coverage is not the same as demonstrating necessity. Finally, Verizon has publicly announced plans to expand satellite-based coverage based in 2026. This raises a reasonable question as to whether constructing a permanent, highly intrusive structure designed to remain for decades is justified, particularly when less intrusive and involving technologies may soon address coverage needs. So in summary, the applicant has not demonstrated a good faith effort to identify less intrusive alternatives. The proposal does not meet the least intrusive means standard required under federal law. A significant gap in service has not been clearly established. The project is incompatible with rural residential zoning and community character. The tower would negatively impact surrounding property values. For example, we could stand to lose up to $68,700. Our home is currently 565 feet to the house, 180 feet to the property line. So for these reasons, I respectfully request the Commission apply the standards set forth under the Telecommunications Act of 1997, uphold the intent of rural residential zoning, and deny this application. This is not the least intrusive option, and that is the standard we must follow.
Thank you for your testimony today. Mr. Carter, do you wish to cross-examine this witness?
No.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify as an opponent? Morning.
Good morning. Okay. I am Tammy Burke. I live at 1012 South Nixon Camp. Our corner of the property touches the Willis property. We are 500 feet from the tower to the property line and 870 feet from the tower to our house. As one of the youngest couples on the street, my husband and I, we believe that to be unique, and because we bought this as our forever home almost 4 years ago, and had we known that this might be an option, we would have reconsidered. It's the place I saved my entire life for, a place that, a dream home with beautiful views, the trees, the wildlife, pastures for my horses. We own 4. The quiet, the peacefulness, and the safety, all of which we believe that would be sacrificed if this were to go forward. If approved, every single day it will be there. Like when I ride my horses, we will see it. It will be there. When I sit outside and drink my coffee, it will be there. When we mow, we see it. Every time we drive down the driveway, it's there. When we walk outside, it's there. Even if Verizon, it was said that they might go satellite, it will still be there, even if they don't need it. And then long after, even Willa and the property owner passes on, we are the ones that have to be there for, hopefully, God willing, 40 plus years. It'd be a very long time that we are the ones that have to pay and live with this. And as far as for more emotional and physical unique harm, the International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies RF radiation as a possible carcinogen. And seeing as I stood by both my parents that lost their battle with cancer, it's not something I would ever choose to have in my life, even as a possibility. And I don't feel we should be forced to take that risk. And then I found, and just because there isn't a Protective Act yet doesn't mean there aren't risks. It took almost 70 years after the tobacco smoke was first shown to cause lung cancer until this was publicly acknowledged, and the Non-Smokers Protection Act was established in Germany in 2007. So that's, yeah, I think that's it.
Great. Thank you for your testimony today. Mr. Carter, do you have any questions for the witness?
Is there something else you wanna say?
What?
Is there something else you wanted to say? No? Okay, I thought you did, sorry.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else here who wishes to testify? Good morning.
Good morning. Samantha Beach, we're at 1190 South Nixon Camp,
I'm Zach Beach, and we have been sworn in.
and we are 130 feet away from the property line, and our house is a little bit further at 2170 feet away from the actual tower itself. I was gonna actually do the same quote from the National Realtors Association, basically stating that it does do a 20% reduction. And that was actually backed by research performed by the environmentalhealthscience.org, saying that it did. So I don't know in comparison to the realtors in a different state, but I feel like that's a little bit more relevant. And unfortunately, we bought our house at 2025 prices, I think we're some of the newest residents on the street. And then we immediately put about 185,000 in cash in reservation. So we definitely have a lot more financial recent burden. So even a 20% or even a 5% impact is pretty great on our part. But other than that, I don't think we will necessarily be able to see the tower from our house just because we're so far back, but you'll definitely be able to see it from almost every other part of our property. And I don't think anybody wants to see it. And I think that's really just about it from us, is property value is our biggest thing.
Great, thank you. Mr. Carter, do you wish to question the witness?
Can you see the high tension power lines from your house?
No,
Did you consider those when you bought your house?
no, because they don't run through my property. I build power lines for a living.
Nothing for the,
Had we known about the tower though, I definitely would have not bought this property. We had 4 or 5 others that we're looking at. And had I known the tower was gonna be there, we would have chosen one of the other ones. Hands down, I can say that with 100% certainty.
Great. Thank you for your testimony today. Other opponents?
Yeah, I just have a couple documents I want to submit.
Okay, sir, Mr. Kirby,
Oh.
I will give you a chance to come back. What I'd like to do is collect the testimony of all the opponents. Yes, ma'am. You're gonna get your chance again, I promise you.
Well, it would just answer some questions, so I'll try and get that.
Great, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Donna Watson, my husband Chet Watson. We live at 980 South Nixon Camp Road in Orgonia. We've been there 44 years.
44.
I think we may be the oldest people on the road. We love it out there. It's country. That's all it's about is the calm of the country. I know the cell people think that there's nothing to it, just put this big thing up and it's done. But what about the wildlife? The deer that come out all the time. And we got turkeys out there now. But one of my main concerns is, 3 years ago, he had heart surgery. He has a pacemaker. Will this thing cause any problems? That bothers me the most. Sorry. I don't want to move. Any questions?
Mr. Carter, do you have
Any
any
questions?
questions for the witness?
no.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
testimony today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Are there any other opponents?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, I am Amberly Kirby. I know you, I belong to mine. I live at 1087 South Nixon Camp. I have been sworn in. I've listened at all the other meetings. Today, I'm up here, and I'm not a good speaker, so, but, we have 2 properties involved, 1087 South Nixon Camp and 4828 State Route 350. Both properties touch Miss Glancy's property. Our total value is like $550,000. So property devaluation is a big issue. I have, as well as the environmental health saying 20%, I have the National Institute for Science, Law, and Public Policy. They also say 20% depreciation.
It's a valuation depreciation.
Yeah, so several of the things when Mike and I looked for our forever home, this is the road our school bus went on, you know, so we wanted something there. And we wanted our kids to be raised where we were raised. So, you know, we have that. We have so many neighbors. You know, our speed limit's 55, but our neighbors go 30 because of all the kids. We have myself. We've talked about Mr. Young's wife having tinnitus. My daughter has that. Luckily, his wife's not affected by the cell phone tower. How do we know case by case, you know, who's going to be affected? I personally have medical devices, including this one, which runs on AT&T, and it has no problem. We have livestock for my daughter's 4-H. We have livestock where we raise cattle, we're going to raise cattle. That's why we have the 4828 State Route 350, sorry, to raise cows on. My daughter has goats and ducks and donkeys and sheep. You know, what if that affects their health or the productivity of chickens with eggs, you know, that we're going to consume? My mom also, like Chet, has a pacemaker. She lives in Florida, but she comes up here to stay for the winter. And now I have to tell her, you can't stay at our house. So, sorry.
You did just fine. You did just fine.
But thank you very much, and we just ask that you please find a reason to deny him.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Carter, do you have any questions for the witness? Great. Seeing none. Are there any other opponents who wish to testify today?
You mind if I sit here?
Be happy to. Can we, yeah, we'll just, let us get you.
I can probably talk loud enough.
Well, it's being video recorded.
So good morning and thank you. My name is Tom Calvert. I'm at 1199 South Nixon Camp. I'm a direct neighbor of Miss Willa.
And
Her
you've been
property-
sworn in?
Yes, I was. My property her property comes right up behind my property, which is, I'm 400 feet from where this cell tower is gonna be placed. We just bought our property last February, I think, and moved into it in May, so I haven't even been there a year yet. And in less than a year, now I have to worry about my property losing value, 20% potentially. On top of the health issues, I don't need any more of those. You know, I've just got some great concerns about this. Again, I moved out there because it's the country, it's beautiful country out there, it's peaceful. I have a beautiful view from my back deck. I used to, or hopefully I still will, but this is the last thing I wanna see. You know, every morning, when I go out and sit on my deck and eat my breakfast, I'm gonna have to stare at this thing. I have grave concerns, and I own enough real estate in Lebanon, I know how property values go. A cell tower is definitely gonna reflect that. Definitely gonna decrease my values, and if it does, are my taxes going down? My property taxes? I mean, like I said, I've got the same concerns everybody else has. Property values, health issues, you know, it's just gonna change things. I know I wouldn't have bought the property had the cell tower been there, and if I did, I would definitely wouldn't have paid what I paid for it. So, that's all for me.
Thank you for your testimony today.
Thank you.
Mr. Carter, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, thank you.
Okay, and then I saw somebody else stand up over here.
I'm not good at public speaking, so.
Everybody says that, but everybody does just fine.
I'm very good. Lori Anderson. I live at 968 South Nixon Camp Road.
And you've been sworn in?
I have been sworn in, yes.
Thank you.
I have the concerns also with property depreciation, and I also have several health issues. I'm like Amberly, I'm a diabetic. I've been diabetic 49 years, and I have devices that I use. And I use not Verizon, but AT&T. I have no issues. I'm concerned if Verizon tower comes in. This is just my thoughts. Is it going to affect my devices and not be able? This is my lifeline. This is how I get my insulin, how I live. So I have big concerns about that. How that's going to affect it. I don't know if there's very many studies, but years down the road, are they going to find out we're all going to get cancer because of living, close to a tower, or concerns about medical devices and things like that? So that's mainly my concern.
Thank you for your
oppose this.
testimony today.
Thank you.
Mr. Carter, do you have any questions for the
No,
witness?
thank you.
Okay. Other opponents? All right, Mr. Kirby, my next question is, if there's anyone who testified as an opponent to the site plan that desires to cross-examine the chief zoning inspector, or the applicant, or the applicant's witnesses, or any proponent? Mr. Kirby?
Timothy Kirby, 1087 South Nissen Camp. I have been sworn in. Starting to get the hang of this, right? No, I just got a couple documents. They're actually my physical documents that I had for my notes, but with all the questions that their team had about property valuation and everything. This is a letter from Burgoyne Appraisal Company. They're licensed in Indiana, Michigan, South Carolina, North Carolina, and such. And this was when they actually went against the Federal Communications Commission. And this is a document that states how it affects property value and such. On top of that, I also attached all the environmental health science paperwork to submit to you. And then
You can give it to Bruce.
Give Crystal?
Yep. that'd
Okay,
be great.
and then I also wanted to submit this, and I wanted to document it for the record. Last week when we were here, they talked about the site at 3859 State Route 350, and how it had no tenants and it had been vacant for 30 years. I have attached the email from Brendan Proctor. He is the specialist at subcarrier.com. That tower had been vacant since May of 2019, less than 7 years. And I have attached an email where I spoke to him last week stating, Mike, thank you for the call this morning. I spoke with our company president, and per his directive, Subcarrier Communications is willing to do whatever is necessary to accommodate Verizon Wireless at our Lebanon, Ohio tower site, up to and including an entire tower rebuild. I wanted to submit that to Ms. Crystal. And last but not least, this is the correspondence with ODOT with Mr. Devin Phillips, January 23rd at 9:13 a.m., where they called me back and I spoke with them for 14 minutes.
We need to mark those exhibits somehow, letter.
And also, when you're handing those out, have we already been submitted these?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure they were in the
Is this
packet.
part of this packet?
Yes, I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure they were called out.
Well, can
So
we make
Mr.
that-
Young,
Can we make that packet? Are you introducing or all of the documents in here?
they should all be in there.
Do you want to make those just one exhibit?
Hold on. Okay, you want to speak?
So have they been using letters for their exhibits? Have they been all the new numbers? Usually, one side uses numbers and one side uses
I understand.
letters. I don't know what you've been
We've
using.
just been bringing it and turning it
Have you
in.
guys even submitted exhibits yet? I mean, we saw this morning. Is that an exhibit already?
That is a chart.
Yeah.
Mr. Kirby put up I hope that identifies the folks that spoke here today.
It has everybody plus some.
This is for demonstrative purposes, I think, but
Yeah.
I'd like to make this marked as well.
Yes.
And then I
And
think-
it's admissible under Evidentiary Rule 106, I think it is, for charts and summaries.
Yeah, well, it is if you can document it. And since you've instructed us to basically allow everything in, it doesn't mean that everything that we admit in, when we deliberate, is admissible or that we can consider it, but we're gonna consider it for all of whatever it's worth. So I just wanna make sure that we mark these so we know who submitted them and what they are. And if can we make their exhibits like alphabetical numbers? Like this would be A and this would be B?
Yeah.
Not
So
alphabetical letters, obviously not numbers.
Crystal is saying that obviously they used a PowerPoint in
Yes.
prior hearings. That needs to be referenced as an exhibit, so we need to give that something.
Let's start in 20s for that, because I know that the zoning department, we have exhibit 1 and exhibit 2 that were the zoning department. So if we're gonna use numbers for them, can we start it?
Why can't we just use letters for the
Well, because
opponents?
the
The applicant
the
use
applicant
letters?
is using
Yes.
letters,
Oh, okay, then
yes.
let's use numbers, I'm sorry, I didn't remember that.
But I'm just trying to keep it separate from the zoning
So the
department.
PowerPoint is, we can go with 20, and we have this appraisal company document, we'll call that 21. And then environmental health science article 22. The exhibit 23 is, I assume, the ODOT response. Was there anything else?
The chart from earlier this morning.
Okay, we'll call that 24.
Are we good with? You guys
Great.
need to question me or anything?
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
Now, anyone else who testified as an opponent have any questions for and wish to cross-examine our chief zoning inspector, the applicant's witnesses, or any proponent? Seeing none, the board will now give the applicant the opportunity to respond to the testimony and evidence presented by the opponents, if he wishes to do so.
You have nothing.
I do have a question for you, however. Mr. Carter,
I think
I have a question for you.
that's
Is it true that the cell tower emissions comply with FCC regulations?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
So for the record, does the applicant have anything else to say, or evidence or witnesses they wish to present today?
No.
At this time, the applicant must describe on the record every document that you desire the Board of County Commissioners to rely upon to make its decision, and leave a copy of the document with the board to make it part of the record.
So we would ask the board to consider our application that we submitted, that is before the board, to trigger this application and trigger the meeting to get the application before the board. Then we would ask the board to consider exhibits A, which is the, I think we've labeled exhibit A, the engineering letter of Stephen Yao. Exhibit B, the statement of Aaron Pratt. Exhibit C, the RF propagation analysis. Exhibit D, which is the search ring maps. Exhibit E, the declaration of James Kopak. Exhibit F, the site acquisition master chart. Exhibit G, the certified mail documentation. Exhibit H, the FAA determination of no hazard. Exhibit I, which is the FAA antenna structure registration record. Exhibit J, which is the letter from the auditor or the email from the auditor. Exhibit K, which is the Val Ridge appraisal. We would ask that our supplemental brief be made part of the record. And then again, our initial filings that we made with Mr. Dratt and the department with the record, with the application and those materials.
Okay, great. So this time the board is asking the applicant to answer each of the following questions for the record. Did the Board of County Commissioners deny you the opportunity to present your position, arguments, and contentions?
No.
Did the Board of County Commissioners deny you the right to offer and examine witnesses and present evidence and support into the record?
No.
Did the Board of County Commissioners deny you the right to cross-examine witnesses in opposition?
No.
Did the Board of County Commissioners deny you the opportunity to offer evidence to refute evidence or testimony offered in opposition?
No.
Did the Board of County Commissioners refuse or fail to compel any witnesses' appearance or evidence at your request?
No.
Do you have any objections to the evidence made a part of the record?
The evidence that we propose, no.
And we have an objection on the record of some evidence already during the.
And we haven't seen certain evidence that's been offered or certain documents that have been offered by the opposition.
So we need to give Mr. Carter the opportunity to review those, because the question relates to, do you have an objection to the evidence presented or exhibits presented by the opponents? So he needs to be given that opportunity while we're here on the record. And we want to make sure that we got them all listed as well. I think we may have left one out, and that was the response, which I will reference as number 24, the response from the owner of the State Route 350 site. I think the address was 3958.
Do we have all the documents that have been submitted? Have we got them all properly identified with numbers and?
Mr. Kirby just presented a bunch of documents. We want to make sure that we identify them by an exhibit number. We started with 20, which was his PowerPoint. And anything else that he wants made part of the record, we want to make sure we have it numbered and identified, and we want to make sure that Mr. Carter has a reasonable opportunity to review those things and decide whether he wants to object to any of those.
Right, so I think that we need to number them now, and then we need to provide them to you to review, so that you can then make your objections. And I take it, Mr. McGarry, we're not gonna be ruling on the objections, but we will take the objections into consideration when we deliberate.
Correct.
And for, we want to explain that we're not going to deliberate today.
Mr. Kirby, why don't you come up, make sure we have everything. It's your obligation to identify your exhibits. Start with the letter 20, because that'll be the PowerPoint. You may not have that printed off.
Up there?
Okay, you do have it.
That's right.
All right, so all of this was also submitted on Friday except for this one. 23. This is appraisal information. This was a PowerPoint for today.
think 23 was no, I'm mistaken. That was-
ODOT chart you have down, that's 22.
I have something about ODOT response.
That's 22.
That's 22.
Unless, yeah, that's all one packet. It's the communication number as well as their response, what they call it that.
Won't you write the numbers on each of these?
I did.
But I think he's saying 22, 23, 24. So that's all one packet.
So 20 is the PowerPoint,
Correct.
21 is,
The Federal Communications Commission, where the appraisal company went and described everything under oath on how it affects property value, as well as the statements from the environmental health science.
is that separate or the same? Environmental health science?
Well, there's actually 8 different studies here. I mean, if you want to number them each individually, we can.
No,
I
let's
just
just make them
said-
all one.
I presented it as one packet.
All right, so what number did you put on that?
That is 21.
All that together is
Yes.
21.
All right, and 22 will be the contact for the ODOT, and 23 will be the communications.
What's communications?
Where I actually spoke with ODOT, that'll be number 23. Exhibit 23, and then exhibit 23 continued. It's the
So I
same.
had it as
Okay,
one.
Okay. And then 24 will be the email correspondence with 3859 State Route 350. And that will be 3 sheets. And then if you want to keep the other emails corresponding with the other available co-locations, those are attached with 24.
And then your chart.
From this morning.
Chart is actually in exhibit 20. It's in the PowerPoint, as well as it was submitted on Friday.
Is that everything?
I believe so.
Now give Mr. Carter the opportunity to come review these things.
Mr. Carter, you wanna come and review the exhibits?
And proffer any objections if any.
Is that stack right there?
Yes, sir.
They're marked.
So we start with 20?
We can get you a copy, but we'd like to get on the record any objections that you have.
Thank you. is this it?
That's it.
This is it, okay.
That's it, Mr. Kirby, right?
What's that?
These exhibits, 22.
We had our previous PowerPoints that he's already had access to.
You don't have a hard copy. Okay, well, let's mark that too.
So we've got the PowerPoint from April 14th and a PowerPoint from February 10th.
If we have an email that we would like to, now, can we get that printed?
And you want to put in something additional?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I believe you can do that, but you should go get it, give us a copy, and then we gotta submit it to the opposition and let them comment on it.
Let me look really quick at what they have. Well, it's on that subcarrier tower and how long it's been vacant.
So you got an email that is, that it gives some indication it's contrary to what they've submitted?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see it. This is this 580-59 route.
Yeah, so
Cell tower.
the issue is, our email says it's been vacant since 1993. This one indicates it's been vacant since May of 2019.
It was built in 1993, it's not vacant since 1993.
That's not what our email says, though.
Bruce, would it be appropriate for her?
But that's what our email says.
I know.
Just making certain.
So where should we send that to get it printed?
Bruce, would it be appropriate for you to send it to me and I can print it?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, you've been sending emails already, or someone on your behalf has.
We present this and add it to it since they're adding the email.
Well, show us what you
I
got.
don't know what you're waiving.
This is public record. State of the Towers built in 1993.
Is that all the exhibit that
We
you've
agree it
already
was
been
built in
marked?
1993.
They'll stipulate
Okay.
that. You don't need it.
Stipulate.
Okay. Almost had to call him Steve.
send it to you. Just trying to get it, and I emailed him to reply back, he's trying to email me. The, tower gentleman, is on the laptop. I'm just waiting for it to. Either he's not, he may have to get that connection.
Don't you go elect her and make your objections?
Can I keep these just in case I need to read them?
No, that's all we have.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, well,
Oh, already.
And we'll have prepared copies for you.
okay.
Okay. So do you have any objections to the evidence made a part of the record?
Yes, so let me go quickly through them. Exhibit number 20, which was the PowerPoint presented today, I object to the property values that the spreadsheet that was presented, the first part, in that that's hearsay. I also object to the second part, in that I don't think there was proper authentication for that study. I don't know who the author was, what the authority was for that. Then at the end of it, there were really three parts to exhibit number 20. First was the property values and the listing of the property owners. The second was some commentary about cell tower drop property values. And then the third part, which I also object to, was a summary of administrative hearing with some commentary. I object to the end in that I don't know what that commentary was and the characterization of that commentary. So I object to that. Exhibit number 21, this Burgoyne Appraisal Company. Likewise, there's two attachments there. Once again, the second attachment is this same diagram, and I object to that for the same reasons. I don't know, it was never authenticated, don't know what it was. And the Burgoyne appraisal itself, I wouldn't necessarily object to it, but it appears to be incomplete. It's not authenticated, it's not signed in any way, and it appears to be incomplete in that it goes from introduction to no conclusion. It states an introduction, and then it's missing the rest of the pages. And it says at the top, page 4 to 10, we don't have the complete conclusion. So I would say it's inappropriate for the board to.
Is that document have a signature page?
No, there's no signature page to it. So I would say it's inappropriate for the board to rely on something like that that's not authenticated, that is incomplete. Exhibit 22 and 23 are call logs, or call records with the state of Ohio. I have no objection to those, but I would note that they really don't show anything other than that the objectors made contact with the state of Ohio. It doesn't even say that it's with the Department of Transportation. But I don't object to those. Exhibit 24 and 25 are duplicates. They're the PowerPoints. Presentations. One's dated, Exhibit 26 is dated April 14th. Exhibit 25 is dated February 10th. I don't object to those except for one page, and that is the page that attributes a comment to Joshua Moyer, Warren County Technology Services, and it's a comment that Mr. Moyer stated there are no known coverage area deficiencies within the county. We would object to that. I think the appropriate way to have addressed that is to have Mr. Moyer appear personally, or to have obtained, as we did from the auditor, obtain an email to that effect or some sort of statement, rather than a broad brush statement. I would submit there certainly are coverage deficiencies within the county, somewhere at some place, and I don't know that that would be Mr. Moyer's statement if he were to give it, and I certainly would like the opportunity to cross-examine him or to see an email statement attributed to him. But those would be my objections to the exhibits.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Your objections are noted.
Did you handle the objections to this document?
Oh, thank you, yes. That is exhibit 24. So exhibit number 24, I think we're gonna have a factual dispute there because,
This is what you wanted printed.
yes. So we're going to submit at this time exhibit
L?
L.
I think it might be L. It's L.
I made 6 copies. What is it? I'll figure it out.
So, exhibit 24, pivoting from me introducing exhibit L. Exhibit 24 is actually emails from 2 tower carriers. The one is really irrelevant. We haven't talked too much about American Tower Corporation. I'm coming over by the mic. There's an email from American Tower Corporation in there. I don't know that that's really relevant to what we're talking about, and we don't object to that email coming in. Doesn't really say very much. The other, exhibit 24, talks about the subcarrier tower, and that tower being built in 1993. We stipulate that it was built in, I don't know that we stipulate it was built in 1993. It was built a long time ago.
When you listed your exhibits earlier, you referenced a supplemental brief letter. I assume that was the email or letter to me.
That was a supplemental brief that we filed with the
Yes.
board.
On April 4th. So you don't want anything that was sent yesterday made a part of the record?
I want that FCC filing.
Which is, and that's what I'm getting to, that's I.
Right.
That speaks to the issue. That exhibit I, which you've asked to be introduced, purports to be an FCC antenna structure registration for that tower at 3859 State Route 350, identifies the owner and a plethora of other information.
Correct. And I have something else here that
And it also identifies the construction date, because the owner registers it with the FCC, and that's what that document is. So you've already got that in the evidence.
right. So exhibit, in addition to talking about the ATC tower, exhibit 24 is communication with the opposition, where subcarrier indicates, or an email that purports to indicate that that tower's been vacant since May of 2019. So I guess we object to that representation. We don't necessarily object to the exhibit, but we are submitting something that's factually inconsistent, and that is an email chain where, pursuant to the board's request, we contacted, after our February hearing, we contacted Subcarrier, and Subcarrier on March 5th communicated with Mr. Lau to say that This site has never had anyone on it since we bought it in 1993. And that email is on page 3 of the email chain that I'm handing out to all of you now.
And this is exhibit I?
No.
L.
L. That we're just handing out and that we asked be copied because I didn't know that this was gonna become an issue of, I guess, a factual issue, until right now.
What difference does it make? How does L contradict in a relevant way what they're saying about the availability of this tower to serve for your purposes?
So our position is that the tower isn't capable structurally of supporting this installation. They concede that in their exhibit.
Well, they concede in their exhibit that if it's not appropriate, they'll build a new one.
And
I guess that's not a concession, that's a statement they're making. They're making in the exhibit they presented, that this particular tower company says it's available, but if it doesn't suit purposes, you can infer that that's maybe what they mean, that they'll build an entirely new tower for you there. So my question to you is, if your exhibit in response is that the age of it suggests that it is not suitable because it's not structurally able to be used, they'll build a new one, and if they were to build a new one, how does that impact your request to us to go forward with their site when you can have this alternative site?
because from an RF standpoint, that site is not suitable.
So you're talking about from the standpoint of the effectiveness of the territory you want to cover, it doesn't provide as much coverage as where you're suggesting in this neighborhood.
Correct.
That's your objection to
And
this?
I'm also asserting that I guess I question the credibility at this stage that they're willing to, that we're seeing this come through that exhibit, that they're willing to, at this point in time, through this witness, that they're willing to demolish that tower. That wasn't something that was indicated in the communications with us.
Or did they even address that topic with you?
Well, you can see they addressed a lot of topics with us, but they didn't address that topic.
Okay.
So I think that coming through at this moment through that witness, I think you have to weigh it in terms of the source.
Well, I guess I don't know who Brendan is.
Nor do I.
But he does seem to have a email address that appears to be relevant because it says @subcarrier.com. And when we look at, your person seems to have the same email content at subcarrier.com. So they appear to have the same email company address, but they're different individuals.
Giving out different information.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess a bit different information, but not necessarily contradictory for purposes of the relevance that we're talking about, which is the availability of that site for a tower that would be competent to hold your, transmission information. And then, because we've addressed this site in terms of taking a look at how well it would cover the territory you want to cover.
I think though, I can get into a debate with you on the law if you want.
No, I don't want a legal debate with you.
Okay.
All I want to know is whether or not you are objecting or contesting the fact that this site's available to you. That's all I want to know. Is this site available or not? And I think it's not really being disputed, except that we don't know who Brendan is and what authority he has to make these representations.
Correct. We maintain it's not available to us.
Would it be worthwhile for you to contact Brendan Pratcher? And since it's apparently, maybe you could do it right now, I don't know. But would that clear it up?
The site, even if the site were available, we have already addressed that it does not provide the desired coverage.
Okay, and I know it doesn't, but it doesn't, it's not equivalent. I understand, it's not completely equivalent. But it does substantially serve some of the needs that you're interested in with regard to both coverage and capacity, does it not?
As I've said, that's the board's interpretation. That's not what Verizon's witness has testified.
Okay, all right, I understand. And we've pretty thoroughly gone through that topic with you.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I do have one thing we need to address with Mr. Carter before he sits down. Mr. Grissom asked you a very important question not that long ago, and you answered yes. It related to the FCC's emission standards. Is that your testimony? Do you want to introduce your RF engineer to corroborate that, or you want to stand on your statement? Because you're here in the capacity as an attorney, but I know you've been sworn in and maybe made some testimonial, factual statements. Is that what that was when you said yes?
So we'll call Mr. Golding.
And the reason, I'll point that out so everyone understands that under the applicable section 47, section 332 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Congress has made it a law that provides, and we've heard substantial testimony today relating to the environmental effects of RF emissions. And that's what Mr. Grissom's question went to. And what Congress did in passing this law says that no state or local government or instrumentality may regulate the placement, construction, modification of personal wireless service facilities on the basis of environmental effects of RF emissions to the extent such facilities comply with the FCC's regulations concerning those emissions. So I just want to make sure the record is clear and the residents understand that, assuming this witness is going to testify that it does comply with the FCC's emissions regulations, then that testimony cannot be considered in making your determination in this case. We've heard a lot of that testimony already.
And that's why I asked the question.
Okay, Mr. Carter, your witness, if you'd state your name.
Kerbal Lane, 7575 Commerce Court, Lewis Center, Ohio, 43035. I have been sworn in. Yes, Verizon meets FCC regulations for our licensed call signs at this location.
Thank you.
I think that they have a right to cross-examine if they want.
Would any of the opponents like to cross-examine this witness?
Let me walk up there. Timothy Kirby, 1087 South Nixon Camp, Livonia, Ohio. I have been sworn in. So, you said it meets the FCC. Who monitors and regulates what that tower puts off? Can I ask that?
Who regulates?
Yeah, well, who monitors, who physically tells us, you know, how much RF or EMFs that tower's putting off? Daily, weekly, monthly, to protect the citizens?
We do an initial study that has all the frequency bands that are transmitted at that site. And that study is entered into our database, and that is a maximum study. And if there are any changes, if there are any problems with that study, we mitigate so that there are no issues. So there can't be a way that we transmit more than our amplifiers allow. So it's a worst case study that we do, that we have.
How often is that study done? Or how often is it checked?
The study is done when we make any changes
Okay.
to the site.
So over a period of 2 years, if there's no change, then it's not monitored or checked?
There's no reason to check it because there's no change.
Electronics go bad though, correct?
They typically, if they go bad, they shut off. So there would be less.
Okay. My other question is, the site located at 3859, because you're not an RF engineer, I would like to ask him, it meets most of the criteria needed for Verizon's usage and capacity and usage, correct?
It does not fulfill what we consider our service area gap. It does not meet that coverage.
However, under testimony in February, it met 80 to 90%, correct?
I didn't say that, but you could.
Well,
if you go into the
I'm going back to what we were told, and that's why we concentrate on co-location. You know, because that particular location does not affect the community like the location that you are requesting to build. You would agree with that, correct?
If you state the question,
Okay.
you said a lot there.
The 3859 location has less impact on the residents than what the 1105 South Nixon Camp location.
Impact, I can't answer that question.
Okay. All right, that's all.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr. Kirby. Thank you.
They did say that.
Bruce, anything else you want to clarify?
No.
Okay. So I will, at this point in time, I'll entertain a motion to close the administrative hearing.
I move to close the administrative hearing.
Second, and roll call.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
I am going to also entertain a motion to deliberate in private. But before I do, Mr. Carter, it would be my intention to, since Commissioner Young is not here today, to ask if there would be any objection to deliberating with Mr. Commissioner Young present in our deliberation after he has reviewed the YouTube video of today's hearing, as well as all of the exhibits that have been entered into the record. Do you have any objection to that?
No, I think that's appropriate, given everything that we've done and the work that's been put in.
Great. So now I'll entertain that motion to deliberate in private along with Mr. Young. Second, and roll call.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Okay, so that,
I was gonna say, I'd like to make a comment to the folks that are here. So, obviously, what will happen now is that Mr. Young will review the tapes from today, he will review all the exhibits that we've seen and gone over today, and then we can, under the law, deliberate in private. After that deliberation in public, we will announce a decision. And I can't tell you, is there a limitation, a time limitation when that has to be met? Because there were time limitations, but I think they got re-ratcheted with various things. So Bruce, can someone tell us what our time limits are?
Yes, last week the issue was raised about a shot clock. That is something that is in the US Code section that we talked about earlier, 47 US Code 332. But the code only says within a reasonable period of time. The FCC, through its regulations, has interpreted that, and that's where the various timelines that were talked about. Last week, Mr. Carter mentioned 90 days. There's actually a 60-day that's not applicable. The 90 days not applicable. The 150 days is applicable. We scheduled it this week because we thought we were running out of time, but I've since done some research, and the FCC's interpretation through its regulations in the Code of Federal Regulations speaks to the issue of tolling. And in light of the admission during the hearing, before it was closed just a moment ago, of Exhibit 2, which was the emails back and forth between Mr. Royce J. Lau and the Zoning Department and the Regional Planning Commission, it is that evidence that establishes that when the application was filed, it was not complete. There is a 30-day notice provision that the government has to provide to the applicant that the application is incomplete, and that was done repeatedly in the plethora of emails that was admitted as Exhibit 2. You'll also remember at the hearing its conclusion in January, I think it's January 6th, Mr. Lau was instructed by Commissioner Jones to communicate with Ray Dratt, our chief zoning official, because he still had not provided all of the evidence to make the zoning application complete based on the requirements of our zoning code. So clearly our last week in quick interpretation that the 150 days may expire on April 25th, in my view, is inaccurate. There's various communications that certainly extends that way beyond April. And I assume you're talking about in the next few weeks, you'll deliberate in private, review all the evidence, and then come back and adopt a resolution either to approve or deny.
That would be the plan.
All right, so in light of that, when we announce a decision, we're not gonna be deliberating in front of anybody, but we're gonna be announcing a decision. We obviously will look carefully at all the evidence that's been presented. We have to comply with the law, and the law restricts us in terms of what we can consider and what the criteria are and the type of evidence that we can consider. And that's one of the reasons why I asked the question about the FCC and their emissions and whether they complied with those standards, because that takes off the table some of the testimony we've heard today, if that's accurate. But we want you all to know that we care about what you think, and we acknowledge the legitimate concerns that you've expressed, and we will properly deliberate and consider all of that compliant with the law to make our decision. And I want to thank you all for being here. Many of you have been here multiple times. We know that took a lot of effort because you're in the middle of your day, and it's our work day, but it's not yours. And we appreciate that. We know that it's been an inconvenience to you.
And congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
Will we be notified in some fashion as to when your announcement will be made as to the final decision?
We can do that before on the date that we're gonna do that, we'll give it out in an agenda item that it's gonna happen.
Well, let's figure out how we're going to do that.
Okay.
Since we're not giving them a date certain.
But once we deliberate though, Bruce, we can
It will
deliberate.
go on the agenda.
It'll go on the agenda,
So,
yes.
Right.
so.
That's what I mean.
We'll have to watch for that. It's not,
Yeah.
I mean, unless we have all their email addresses or something, we can't do
So
that.
we'll
May
have
I
it on.
provide Crystal with my email address and I can communicate to the neighborhood?
Sure. All you gotta do is, because I think we'll put on the agenda that we'll be making a decision on that agenda for that day.
Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the commission?
I have none.
Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And yes. Thank you all.
Thank you.